Let me tell you how a gun got pointed to the face of a black woman, just because she didn't blink, didn't flinch, and didn't have the right look in the wrong part of a police precinct. Yeah, that happened, and it unraveled more than just a night shift's worth of protocol. Officer Brent Holloway figured it'd be another routine sweep. Same tired faces, same recycled warnings, but that night, nothing about the air felt routine, you know what I mean? The scanners lit up red, the system spat out restricted clearance, and there she stood, dark-skinned, silver-haired, eyes that didn't say please or sorry, just waiting. Not even a twitch as Holloway stepped in her periphery, flexing the badge, giving her every chance to play along, but she didn't. She stared into the security cam instead, like she was sending a message he'd never be allowed to read. The new kid behind Holloway started to sweat, glancing at his gloves, maybe wishing he'd called in sick. ID, Holloway barked twice, just to make it official. The woman raised her hand for the scanner's low, come another no match, another wave of amber light. No print, no name, no nothing. It was like she'd walked out of a gap in the database, a black hole in a gray coat. Holloway was already in a yed, liked reactions, sweat, fear, the little tells people gave away. She gave him nothing. He tried a manual check DMV, passport, nothing. She might as well have been the wind. He pressed in, let a little mockery bleed into his voice, tried to make her flinch, and she just answered, soft and precise. Wrong question, officer. Not an argument, not a plea. Like a chess move only she saw. Holloway reached for the scanner again, desperate to force some data out of it, but it glitched access denied, oversight required. Now dispatch wasn't answering, and the camera lens moved on its own, zooming in on her face. For the first time, Holloway felt the chill. He tried to sound tough. You're either a criminal or you're someone who shouldn't be walking around. But she didn't even bother to answer, not until he moved to detain her. She went quietly, not resisting, not hurried, walking as if the building had memorized her steps before she arrived. The scanner made a sound no one had heard before you, kind of acknowledgement. Holloway didn't say a word. He just followed, feeling the cold in the air grow heavier, like static before a storm. Inside interrogation room 3, Holloway made a show of sliding his Glock onto the table, barrel pointed, just so, message clear. She didn't look at it. She looked at the clock. He dropped a blank manila folder, slammed it for effect, called her a void. Still nothing. That made him angrier, thrived on control, on squeezing out confessions, on building a file brick by brick. Tell me who you are, or I'll drag you through every protocol violation, he threatened. Her answer? Eyes flicked to the reflection, then back. No fear. No plea. She was waiting for something. Or someone. He slammed his fist, rattling the table, and demanded again. She just said, "You're asking the wrong questions." Holloway pushed a strange ID card into the desk's scanner Delta level clearance, the kind you only hear about in whispered rumors. The machine buzzed and shut down, hot enough to burn his hand. Who issued you this? That's Ghost Protocol. She tilted her head, almost pitying. Not answering you, she said, because you're speaking the wrong language. He started to realize the room wasn't his anymore. The system wasn't responding to him. The silence felt alive, sticky. He called dispatch again, nothing. He pressed, entreed the threats, tried the Glock, tried the stare down. She didn't flinch. He moved the gun to his left hand without thinking, tried to regain some sense of command, but she watched his right hand, twitching. Then she asked, almost clinical, "Did you ever serve? Or did you learn to intimidate from academy manuals?" He fumbled, lowering the gun, not quite admitting defeat. "You think silence makes you special?" He spat. She looked bored. He circled her, frustrated, searching for some anchor, some way to reset the power in the room. When he finally found the sliver of silver in her jacket and access card marked Delta 0, unauthorized access will result in federal criminal liability. It was like the world tilted. The scanner didn't just fail, it blacked out the whole system, then rebooted in red, remote observer connected. It wasn't just a glitch. He was being watched was the subject, not her. "You're bait, and I'm the test," he snapped. "No," she answered. "You were the subject before I entered. You're just realizing it now." The room shifted, the lights turned red, The door locked with a pulse. Holloway lunged for the emergency override, access denied by oversight protocol. She straightened her cuff, showing a circuit embedded in her sleeve just for a second, a kind of trigger. "Do you feel it yet?" she asked, voice even as a metronome. He felt cold at the back of his neck, a chill crawling up his spine. "The thing you're feeling isn't fear, it's the absence of command," she said. Holloway pounded the radio, demanding release. "Your authority has been suspended for the duration of this observation," the automated voice replied. He was unraveling, and she was the only thing in the room that stayed anchored. "You were never the lock, officer," she said. "You were the key, to see if the door opened inward." Holloway's image reflected in the glass. Sweating, shoulders tied, wasn't the enforcer anymore. Then 3 men entered, moving with the quiet confidence of people who had never needed to ask permission. They handed Holloway a Department of Defense folder, Field Ethics Assessment initiated. Inside, his name, his badge, his record, signed by the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Holloway tried to laugh it off, but nothing about this felt like a joke. The woman finally spoke. "I didn't come to answer questions. I came to observe reflex." A second man said, "Your reflex has been recorded and transmitted." Holloway was being audited, judged not by what he did on camera, but by what he did when no one was supposed to be watching. On the wall, a projection flickered to lifer in uniform, medals pinned, shaking hands with the Secretary of Defense, General Rosemary Langston, retired. Black Alpha, still active in classified operations. Suddenly, it was all too clear she was the legend, the myth, the cautionary tale. The rest played out like the final act of a tragedy. Old footage, past violations, everything he'd ever done caught on body cam, in complaint forms, in moments he thought had gone unnoticed. Each act a slur, a shove, a joke at someone's expense played on a loop, punctuated by the damning line. Ethically unfit for field duty. Recommended termination. Langston looked at him, not with anger, not with triumph, just with the cold clarity of someone who already knows how the story ends. "The job doesn't excuse you," she said. "It reveals you." And that was as the door opened. The system stripped Holloway of every credential, every right, every ounce of the authority he'd hidden behind. He was escorted out, invisible, erased. Not with handcuffs, with silence. His name was deleted from every roster, every login pinged back, access denied. And the last time he saw Langston, she said, "From this moment, you're not being monitored. You are being remembered." The world didn't rage, didn't riot. It just absorbed the lesson quietly, inexorably. Footage of Holloway pointing his Glock at Langston's unblinking stare became doctrine. Police training classes paused on the frame. Commentators asked, what kind of strength never has to raise its voice? Murals appeared, her silhouette walking away, his crumpled uniform on the ground. We're not afraid of your badgery, afraid of who's behind it. It was never about hero or villain. It was about what we do when the illusion of power falls away and the truth stands quietly in its place. So now I've got a question for you. When no one's watching, who are you really? When the script ends, and it's just you and the silent Cedo, you hold your ground, or do you blink? Let me know in the comments, though. You think the system should judge people by their reflex, by the sum of their silences and their choices, or do you think redemption is possible when the truth finally speaks? Tell me, what does justice look like in your community?